Welcome to BNEWS Weekly. I'm Phil Gallagher, along with BNEWS reporters Tad Stefanak, Chris Flaherty, Robert Paris, and Lena Minkello, Juliana McGrain with sports, and Gretchen Carey with the community calendar. Thank you for joining us. Town Election Day was last Saturday, April 5th. The results are in. Let's go to Chris Flaherty at the Election Center.
The ballots have been counted, and we now know the winners of this year's town election. The only major contested race this year had 3 candidates vying for 2 5-year seats on the planning board. The 3 candidates included Gregory Ryan, Precinct 1 town meeting member, Jeremy Harrington, member of the Zoning Board of Appeals, and Jack Kelly, Precinct 7 town meeting member and previous member of the planning board for 17 years. The 2 open seats were won by Jeremy Harrington and Gregory Ryan with 1,748 and 1,872 votes respectively. Jack Kelly walked away with 1,430 votes. Here's what Harrington and Ryan are looking forward to about joining the board.
Well, I love to learn, so I know I've got a lot to learn. I know I'm coming with my own perspective. I know I'm going to be listening to residents and blending those to try and drive things forward. But, you know, I'm looking at learning and trying to help continue to move the town in the right direction.
Making sure we don't get out over our skis when we are trying to bring new businesses in the town, paying attention to our residential tax rates, looking at how we can work the accessory dwelling units into our business plan, our model, working on, you know, how can we create more opportunities for less expensive housing in town while always keeping an eye on our residential tax rate.
Town Clerk Amy Warfield has decided to step down after 19 years of service, and a special election was held to finish the last year of her current term. Jennifer Priest ran uncontested and received 2,430 votes. Here's what Priest had to say on the beginning of her new position.
I've done some shadowing with Amy. We've been touching base. She's been answering questions. She's been very helpful. I've shadowed some of the processes with this town election where, they did the early processing. I stood in the hallway. They did their thing in the room. So I have a good grasp of those pieces. I'm excited. There's a lot more to learn. And I'm looking forward to learning all that.
While on the subject of town clerk, one of the 2 questions on the ballot this year was whether the position should be changed from an elected to an appointed position. The reasoning being is the position has changed significantly since Warfield first began, and as of right now, the only qualification is that the candidate be a registered voter in town. The position will remain elected, however, with 1,661 votes for no to keep it elected and 1,526 votes for yes to change it to appointed. This means Jennifer Priest will have to run to seek re-election next year. The second question on the ballot was a non-binding referendum on whether the town should repeal the prohibition of marijuana establishments, which was passed by town meeting in 2017. The majority of residents voted that they wish for the prohibition to remain in place, with 1,926 votes for no and 1,331 votes for yes. You can find the full results of this year's town election as well as our full election night coverage on our website. Until next time, this is Chris Flaherty from the BNEWS Election Center.
Lots of accolades were spread at the planning board last week as the board and community members thanked 2 longtime board members, Ernie Covino and Bill Gaffney. We caught up with Bill before the meeting and he reflected on his time on the board.
Yeah, I really enjoyed my time on the planning board. It's been an honor serving Burlington. I appreciate the planning board, the members, the staff, and the residents of Burlington who have given me feedback during my time here. So it's really been an honor and an enjoyable time with the planning board.
BNews reporter Chris Flaherty sat down with Ernie Covino to reflect on his 42 years as a public servant.
Ernie Covino has been a regular face on Burlington's planning board, first joining the board in 1989 after serving for 6 years on the Zoning Board of Appeals.
Jack Kelly called me one day and said, you know, there's a vacancy, going to be a vacancy on the planning board. Are you interested? And I said, well, what does the planning board do? And he explained it to me, and I thought, yeah, that would be something I was interested in.
Now, after 42 years, Ernie is retiring from public service. During his time on the planning board, Ernie has overseen many development projects in town, including Seven Springs, Summit Drive, Network Drive, and the Northwest Park area.
It was interesting. Nordblum had gone to town meeting and put together a group of people from town meeting and then pulled in some people from the planning board. It kind of turned out even better than I thought it would. The Third Avenue restaurants and amenities, I think, have added a lot to attracting businesses, at least to the town.
Ernie has left a lasting impact on the community, as well as his fellow planning board members and planning department staff.
Ernie is a wealth of knowledge. He's seen Burlington go from kind of a smaller town into what it is today. He's always super helpful, always willing to lend an ear, give advice, provide background, context, always willing to volunteer support. He's been wonderful to work with, and I feel really privileged to have done so.
Ernie, you will be part of my life trajectory. I so have appreciated it and so have appreciated you and just knowing you in this role and as a friend, and you've been a wonderful contributor to the planning board for all these years. And I know you said to me once, you said, all I want is someone to say he was a nice guy. And Ernie, you are a nice guy, and you are so much more for all of us.
Looking ahead, Ernie hopes that Burlington can maintain the balance of commercial and residential property.
And it looks like that may be a little bit more difficult now that people don't go into the office anymore, because a good percentage of our commercial buildings are office buildings, and they either have to be repurposed or reimagined. But I'd say the biggest challenge to the town is to protect our commercial industrial tax base.
Finally, the most important question: what will Ernie do now with all his free Thursday nights?
Good question. I don't know. I think I'll have to find somebody else to bother.
BNews wishes Ernie nothing but the best in retirement. Until next time, this is Chris Flaherty for BNews Weekly.
Thank you all, and please call on me if I can be of any help in the future. Thank you.
Congratulations, Ernie. And Ernie is still active as a member of the BCAT Board of Directors. The Burlington Council on Aging held their annual Senior Prom in partnership with the High School Interact Rotary Club. Robert Paris and Lena Minkello were there.
Hey everyone, I'm Robert Paris alongside
Lena Minkello.
And we're here tonight at the Burlington Marriott for the Council on Aging Senior Prom. Lena, you excited?
Yes.
And behind me, as you see, people are signing in, getting their tables, getting ready to get dancing going and everything like that. So let's go check it out.
Yep.
People were moving and grooving on the dance floor for the Senior Prom. BCAT volunteer Lena Minkello and I checked out the festivities.
Let's talk about the Senior Prom this year.
One of my favorite subjects. So we have, we're at the Marriott, and we have 134 seniors who are coming to the prom for the Senior Prom. And we are looking forward to a great night of dinner and dancing. And we've got superlatives, and we're doing a king and queen later. So it should be a great night.
What do you like most about this event?
I think just watching the participants, the attendees, come and just have the greatest time. So many of them look forward to this night all year long, so it's really great to be able to provide it.
Orange Mayor Kevin Cornell, the assistant of the Burlington Interact Rotary Club, and we're here at the 2025 Council on Aging Senior Prom here at the Marriott. So let's talk a little about the festivities tonight and how have the kids helped in the Burlington Interact Rotary.
So Interact has helped for a long time with this, and this is our second year helping here at the Marriott. So they help sign people in, get people to their table, and just kind of help out with the smaller things, which is good.
The night wouldn't have been complete without superlatives, most notably the King and Queen.
I am here with the Prom King and Queen for tonight. What are your names?
Rhoda McGonigal.
Winston.
How did you guys like this? How did you guys like the event?
Oh, it's fun. We just love it.
It's fantastic. We keep coming back every year.
That's wonderful. Okay, talk about being Prom King and Queen. How's it feel?
Feels great. It's fun.
It's a wonderful experience. First time we won't.
This is the first time. That's awesome.
Last year for different dance.
Well, Lena, that was a very fun night we had here at the Burlington Marriott Council on Aging Senior Prom. What'd you think?
It was awesome.
Yeah. So until next time, I'm Robert Paris.
I'm Lena Minkello.
See ya.
Ken Moffett, member of the Shawsheen Valley Technical High School Committee, was recently joined by committee member Stacy Huberty and Shawsheen Tech Superintendent Tony McIntosh to discuss the application process to the MSBA for funding a new building project.
We have to do an educational self-study or an educational profile, which looks at which programs do we currently offer, what do we think we might want to offer in a new building, are we going to expand current programs, are we going to reduce current programs, are we going to add new programs. So there's a lot of moving pieces with that as well. We have to do an enrollment projection. That's one of the things that's required from MSBA, which will actually inform what our final building number is, what the capacity for students will be. We also have to get local authorization for the feasibility study, which would be the next phase that we would go into. So our 270-day window opens up, I want to say it's August 8th, and goes through April of 2026. So we're going to be busy over the summer and into next fall, making sure that we have all of this stuff done and ready to move forward to MSBA.
The school committee met again this week after last week's meeting where tensions ran high over a youth risk assessment survey. The committee voted unanimously to stop all surveys until new policies are developed, as well as remove funding for the consulting firm that developed the survey.
So I move to suspend use of the youth risk behavior survey at both the middle school and the high school until a formal policy, or more than one, is written and approved by the school committee. The policy should include approval of the entire document, including questions, definitions, everything on the document, by both the superintendent and the school committee. Second. This suspends the whole thing until we come up with a better plan.
So I think we should amend Mrs. Monaco's motion to include no surveys until we have a policy set about how parents are notified and what type of consent we've decided on.
I'll second it with the changes that Megan suggested. Okay.
Good with this motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I vote aye, 5-0. Motion passes.
It is my intention that the opt-out, opt-in question will be part of the policies that we come up with. That was not left out of the motion that we made.
So I'd like to move we remove JSI as a consultant and remove their funding from the budget.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? 5-0. We paid for it.
Parents were still angered, and tensions rose even higher this week as some expressed support for the survey. Parents requested full transparency, including a copy of the survey, who was on the wellness committee, who signed off on the questions from the survey, and what the town paid for the survey. Many speakers spoke over their 3-minute time, and the public did not take direction from the chair when called out of order, causing more chaos. The meeting had to enter recess at 2 separate times during the meeting until order was restored. The superintendent has received many questions surrounding the survey and is working on posting a response to the FAQs once all of the information is compiled. The meeting, as always, can be viewed in its entirety on BCAT's website. Temple Shalom Emeth welcomed the Muslim neighbors, their Muslim neighbors, to take part in a Passover tradition of making haroset together. Haroset is a sweet paste. The name haroset comes from the Hebrew word haras, or clay, and the paste made represents the mortar and brick used by the Hebrew slaves to build the structures of Egypt. The activities was for each person to create their own unique haroset, using apples, dried apricots, dates, honey, cinnamon, and grape juice. Rabbi Susan Abramson said it was particularly important to welcome their Muslim neighbors this year. In this age when there is much hatred, fear, suspicion, and misunderstanding between people of different faith communities, it is important that we reach out to each other, welcome others into our midst, and simply enjoy each other's company as human beings, friends, and neighbors. We can't control what is happening in the world, but we can control our own action and bring peace to our own community. For more on Passover, BCAT podcast host Kyle Singer invited the rabbi onto his show. Robert Paris has the story.
Hello and welcome to BCAT New England Sports Talk.
Kyle Singer, host of the New England Sports Talk podcast, steered away from the sporting world to have a discussion on the upcoming Jewish holiday of Passover, which celebrates the story of Exodus of the Israelites from slavery in Egypt.
I got the idea from Rabbi Susan, and I actually was talking it out, and we've been to temple, and Tad actually said to me, well, why you just bring her in, and the rest is history from there.
Rabbi Susan Abramson of Temple Shalom Emeth joined Kyle on this special episode.
Well, so we talked about a little bit about how, spiritually speaking, my YouTube channel and program here came into existence. We also talked about specific questions about Passover, such as who was Pharaoh, and how did Moses become the leader of the Israelite people, and why were the Israelites slaves, and what's matzah. So kind of some basic questions that hopefully will help people understand a little bit more about the holiday of Passover.
Kyle talked about the importance of the holiday and why matzah plays a key role in the celebration.
Why do we eat matzah? It's because it was a hard cracker. And we can't eat bread, so we just eat matzah for 8 days.
Rabbi Abramson says the holiday is a time for reflection, renewal, and celebration, especially in today's society.
When there's so much turmoil in our country and in the Middle East and around the world, there are so many people who are really, really afraid for their lives, and they're afraid of being imprisoned or deported or whatever, that it really helps us focus our attention on how much help all of those people need, and how we need to help them be free like we are free. So it's very more important today than any other year that I can remember.
You can listen to the full episode with Kyle and Susan on our website at bcattv.org/podcast. From our BCAT studio, I'm Robert Paris for BNEWS Weekly.
Thank you for being here today, Rabbi.
From Lizzie Borden to the ghosts of Mount Washington Hotel, the Burlington Historical Society was recently treated or spooked by a presentation from historian speaker Christopher Daly.
So, the Burlington Historical Society recently hosted a presenter with a ghostly twist.
I've been giving presentations across New England for about 30 years now. This was Haunted History of New England, and this is separate stories, and what I do is I take history and meld it together with ghostly legends. There's about 4 or 5 vignettes where you get a little bit of history and then the ghost stories that follow. I have a theory. That looks like a sea captain. My lectures are mainly history, like I do one on the first year of the Pilgrims. I do another one on the history of the Irish in Boston, various other, just straight history, but this is like one of the, where I go off on like kind of the paranormal a little bit. As a historian, it's probably not a good idea to go around and admitting, but I just kind of opened myself to it, and I thought you could take the history and put the ghost stories together with the history and leave it to the audience whether they think those ghost stories are true or not. The history is true.
From the Burlington Historical Society, I'm BNews reporter Tad Stefanak.
Up next is Sports with Juliana McGrain after our community calendar with Gretchen Carey.
Hey everyone, I'm Gretchen Carey, and this is your community calendar. On April 17th at 5:30 p.m., the Burlington Parks and Recreation Department will be having an egg hunt at Simons Park. Pre-registration is required. For more information, go to the Recreation website. On April 23rd from 7 to 8:30 p.m., the Burlington Garden Club, in conjunction with the Burlington Public Library, are presenting hydrangeas, P's and Q's. Pre-registration is required. To register, go to the library website. On April 28th through May 21st, the Burlington Board of Health and the Reserve Corps will be having a Matter of Balance class. For more information and to sign up, contact Board of Health office at 781-270-1955. For more community calendar events, go to bcattv.org, burlingtonpubliclibrary.org, and burlingtonrecreation.org. I'm Gretchen Carey, and that was your community calendar.
Hi everyone, I'm Juliana McGrain, and this is your weekly sports report.
Girls lacrosse was on the road in Lexington on April 3rd, losing a close matchup of 9-21. Top scorers were CJ Tremblay, Charlotte Sokola, and Gabby Colozzi, with 2 goals each. The first win of the season came at home in a blowout fashion, defeating Arlington 14-4. Ava Robitelli and Emma Striner were the top scorers with 3 goals each. Boys lacrosse defeated Lexington in their home opener with a big win, 17-5. Nolan Jennings was the top scorer with an impressive 5 goals, and Jason Kane was just behind him with 4. The Devils lost 7-20 in their next game at Acton Boxborough. Hannafin and Jennings each had 2 goals and were top scorers. The team lost by 1 point, 6-7 in their next game against Arlington. Daniel Hannafin scored 4 goals and Jason Keene is with 2. Girls softball lost by 3 in a 4-7 game against Billerica on April 4th. In the game against Arlington on the 9th, the team had a 2-10 loss. Red Devils baseball lost a very close game in Reading 3-2 on April 2nd. They were on the road in Arlington where they lost in a 1-score game of 6-7. Both teams will be on the road in Lexington on the 10th looking for their first win. Red Devils volleyball lost to Belmont Marauders 1-3 in their next 3 games against Somerville, Framingham, and Winchester. They were shut out 0-3. The team continues to search for their first win after a 6-straight losing streak. Girls and boys track had their season opener against the Melrose Red Raiders at home, where the girls lost 87-49 and the boys won 84-53. Both teams had a number of personal bests. Cassidy Hanlon qualified for the state tournament in the javelin. She came in first place, throwing at a distance of 97 feet and 6 inches. Ryan Brooks, Leon Scaiondi, Sean Cox, Matt Conti, Justin Gray, and Ethan Tedesco qualified for state meets in their respective events. For the full list, go to athletic.net. Did someone say playoffs? Red Devil Gaming is playoffs bound. For more, we go to BNEWS sports reporter Robert Paris.
We take a look at the esports team and their recap on the regular season and where everyone stands and will be going in the playoffs. Mario Kart ended their season at 5-3 and placed 4th in the state. They'll play an in-person event with dates to be determined. Rocket League ended the season at 5-3 and placed 6th in the state. They'll play Sutton High School in round 1 on April 17th. Madden Giovanni Delgado ended the season at 7-1 and was 2nd in the region. He'll play Camden Catholic High School in the round of 32. Madden Tommy Cullen ended the season at 5-3 and placed 25th in the region. He'll play Westwood Regional in the round of 32.
Girls tennis are 1-2 after a shutout loss to Arlington on the 9th. The boys are 1-1 after a 2-3 loss to Arlington. Soham Shah, Rohan Parikh both had victories. For more Red Devil action, check out our sports section at bcattv.org/sports and follow us on X at BNewsSports. That's all for this week. I am Julianne McGreen. Back to you guys in the studio.
Our photo of the week was sent in by Mary Leach. Spring has sprung, and sure sign of seasonal changes are the budding trees. Mary Leach sends this tranquil vista from a friend's farm in Billerica. Thank you for the great photo, Mary. We'd like to see your photos. The photos could be of something you see around town, whether outside your own door, or even photos of your family members, friends, and pets, whatever you think is interesting would like to share with us and the community. Send them to bcat@bcattv.org with the subject line Photo of the Week. Okay. As previously reported on BNews, BHS teacher Tim Ketterer is in the running for America's Favorite Teacher contest. He has made it to the quarterfinals, which has placed him in the top 1% of this year's competition, but still has a way to go. Voting continues until April 17th. That's it for this week. We have a lot coming up next week, including the award celebration held for Brendan Egan, the Rec Department's Easter egg hunt, the expansion of the community garden, as well as the annual blessing, a preview of area upcoming REV 250 celebrations, and the stories of some runners running the Boston Marathon for a cause. Okay, and don't forget, Wednesday, April 23rd is Hydrangea P's and Q's at the library. It requires pre-registration at burlingtonlibrary.org. That's it for this week. We have a lot coming up, as I told you, next week. Thank you for joining us.